all roads lead to G20 today, Kartik. India's time in the sun as a global superpower. What can we expect from the G20 apart from all the big geopolitical scenarios playing out, Biden coming, Xi Jinping not coming? What we do know is that from the stated agenda of G20, two big headlines coming up. One is a regulation on cryptocurrencies, and vis-a-vis, we'll know what happens with CBDCs once they come up with the regulations for cryptocurrencies. So let's begin with crypto then to start with. Talk to us, there is a lot expected from G20. How does a regulation for crypto make sense at a time when every government, 11 of the 20 G20 countries have already introduced their own CBDC or central bank digital currency?
So I think, Krishna, to begin with, it's important to keep cryptocurrencies in a separate bucket and CBDC in a separate bucket, simply because cryptocurrency is unregulated.
Yes.
And nobody in the world still knows, what is the final good end use of cryptocurrencies.
Yes.
Right. And CBDC, of course, is regulated and monitored by the central banks of various countries. So CBDC is a digital avatar of the cash that you carry in your wallet. Cryptocurrency is something else altogether. So let's focus on cryptocurrency. I think India has had its tryst with cryptocurrency, and not a very positive one at that.
Yep.
I think our fears emerge from the fact that cryptocurrency, because of its very nature of running on blockchain and being untraceable and could be mined using tons and tons of electricity, is something that can be made to, used to make transactions across borders in the whole sort of, space of money laundering, in the whole space of tax evasion, more importantly, in the space of terror financing. Yes. So India has been very categorical in stating that cryptocurrency is something that we will be very, very watchful of. Now, globally, there has been much larger acceptance of cryptocurrency, and there have been, news items which have led to crypto prices, Bitcoin prices shoot up and crash down. Every time, for example, Elon Musk says that, hey, I'm going to accept cryptocurrency and I'm going to accept Bitcoins to, for you to pay for a Tesla car, the price shoots up. Yep. And the next day he introduces something called a Dogecoin, and the value of Bitcoin falls down. But anyway, let's not digress. Let's stay on focus of G20. So there is a synthesis paper prepared by the IMF and the Financial Stability Board. This has been in the works for a while. That synthesis paper is likely to be presented. India is pushing for a global framework through this synthesis paper, and maybe a debate that would happen on that synthesis paper on how the whole world needs to come together and have a global architecture that defines how cryptocurrencies are monitored and regulated. Because at the end of the day, it is something that can be used on the dark web. It can be used for somebody sitting in India on the dark web to make illegal purchases outside the shores of India, or transfer money in the form of cryptocurrency, which doesn't leave a trace and is in this sort of, distributed ledger blockchain ecosystem, which becomes impossible for even a central bank to penetrate into. So these kind of purchases or these kind of transactions can happen across the border, leading to tax evasion, leading to money laundering, and leading to perhaps the potential of terror financing as well. So India is very clear that this synthesis paper, in some form, in some shape, needs to take the shape of a global framework and get other countries to agree to this. There is no resistance, so to speak, on agreeing to or wanting to agree to a global framework, but honestly, there hasn't yet been any headway also. So the point is that, yes, there would be a paper. That paper, because of the complexity of the whole cryptocurrency blockchain ecosystem, is not going to be easy to pass for any government right now. And eventually every government will have to pass it as a bill in their respective countries and their respective constitutions. So it is going to be a large debate. It is something that India really wants to push for. But from what we understand, there hasn't yet been anything tangible in that synthesis paper also. So it could well be, the next 5 G20 summits across 5 different countries before it actually becomes regulation.
Kartik, the reason why I was even asking you, when I talk about CBDC and crypto at the same time, because many view the rise of CBDCs as a response to the popularity of cryptocurrencies across the world, and of course, cryptocurrencies and the risks attached affecting so many people. And so governments and central banks sort of giving the people another option where there is not so much volatility.
Yeah, like Kartik mentioned, with CBDC, you know where the source is, who is monitoring it.
Yes.
Crypto, nobody still knows where's the source of Bitcoin.
Right.
They halve their value every 4 years. Why
Yes.
do they do it? Nobody knows. With CBDC, all those eccentricities will not be there around
Fair
it.
enough.
So because there is you know where the source is.
And Kartik, when the volatility happened and so much money was lost because of volatility in cryptocurrencies, many in India were asking for the banning of cryptocurrencies because they said this is an asset that nobody should be touching. This is illegal in the first place. So I was always curious to understand where in the legal spectrum of things do cryptocurrencies lie going forward, especially with governments themselves wanting to introduce their own digital currency, albeit a very different digital currency to cryptocurrencies. So as you're talking about, there's a good chance that even at the end of this G20 summit, we might not have much clarity on how governments, especially G20 governments, want to regulate cryptocurrency.